it's Lindsay for My Crafty Plans. Today I am back in front of the camera to talk about goal setting. So if you don't know, I am using the MakseLife system for my goals planning for this year, and I've absolutely been loving it so far. I have the MakseLife Quarterly companion notebooks, and I specifically love these because I think they pair so well with my functional planner, which is my Agendio, and I'm just really loving the intermeshing of those two systems so far this year. So it is right before February, and I am going to be setting up my February goals in this video, and I will be doing that on the tabletop view so you can see how I put everything in and my thought process for that. I'll also be setting up my February calendar spread and dashboard in my Agendio functional planner, which is my monthly pre-planning system and my monthly plan as I go system. So I will set that up in advance, and then I add to it every week as needed. You will just see the advanced planning portion of that. But before we do that, I thought I would reflect a little bit in front of the camera on how I thought January went. I already filled out my January reflection questions in my MakseLife. So I'm going to get out those notebook and we can talk generally about how I thought January went, and also about which specific goals that I was able to tackle and which ones I am carrying over into February. So I have my first quarterly companion notebook here. This is the gray one that says just begin. And again, I already filled out my reflections questions off camera. But the questions are pretty basic. You have like your biggest win, what's working, what's not working, lessons learned, adjustments you need to make, and it asks you also to rate your overall month. Well, I thought I got off the year to a really great start, if I do say so myself. I gave myself a 9 for the month of January. I got a lot done. I got some things done that weren't even on my goals, which I will get to in a second, but I just felt really good about what I was able to accomplish this month. And I also feel really good about how flexible I was with the system, because we ended up having 1 week in there where my youngest kid, my baby's classroom was closed because, you know, things like that happen these times, and I just ended up needed to be really flexible that week. I had some work stuff get shuffled around and just different life stuff get shuffled around, and I was able to really maintain some flexibility through that and still get a lot done. So I'm really proud of how I started this year, and I'm feeling really great about that energy going into February as well. So my biggest lessons learned for the month of January was, first of all, a lot of things need to be scheduled more far in advance than I initially thought. Like, I initially thought I would be able to sit down on a Wednesday or Friday and set things up for that weekend, and that's really just not how the world is working right now. Like, certain things, like tickets to the Children's Museum in our area, you end up having to book 3 or 4 weeks in advance, and just even like play dates and just scheduling, it ends up, you need to schedule more things in advance than I initially thought, or further in advance than I initially thought. So as a consequence of that, I actually do have a lot of stuff set up for the month of February, because while I was trying to schedule things in January and not having much success, I did actually schedule some things for February. So that's great, but I want to keep that going and be more proactive about scheduling things, activities, fun times, museum visits, things like that further in advance. That way we have things to do throughout the year and things coming up. So definitely we'll be carrying that lesson learned forward. The other thing that I really struggled with this month that I am taking as a major lesson learned is that I need to be more thoughtful with like a so-called routine. I can't just say like do an afternoon routine or do this and it's just not going to happen. So I need to be a little bit more thoughtful with some of the routines that I set up and actually set them up, instead of just saying like do this very vague thing. So just being a little bit more specific while I'm establishing things as habits. Speaking of habits, I did have 3 daily habits that I kept going throughout the entire month. One was a dental care routine, and I did that literally every single day of the month so far. There's a few days left in the month while I'm filming this, and I plan to do it, but that definitely, having that as a specific goal definitely helped me keep me on track with that. So I'm feeling really good about that, and I will be carrying forward that into February. The other 2 daily routines, one went really well, and that was a screen-free time screen-free family time. So when I say screen-free family time, I mean interacting with the kids without screens in front of us, family time all together. And I also did really, really well with that. I think we just really tried to prioritize that, even during the week, during busy times, during a rough day, and we did a really great job with that. So I'm feeling really good about that one as well, and I will also be carrying that one forward. The third routine was a complete and utter total failure. I would just say I just did not do well on it, but I also just don't think it was well enough. It was well defined, but it wasn't clear what I wanted out of it, I guess. So the other thing was I was supposed to every weekday stop what I was doing 20 minutes before I picked up the kids from school and just chill out. So I didn't write what that was supposed to be, what I was supposed to be doing during that time. I didn't say like anything specific. I just said chill out. And so some days I ended up doing social media. Some days I just didn't do it at all, and I worked on whatever I was doing, life admin or actual work, for my job, right up until the last minute. And then some days I just completely ignored it. One time I tried a yoga video right before I left, and one day it worked like successfully like 2 or 3 times over the course of the entire month. I just wasn't sure like what to do, and then I tend to get like really focused in on things. So one day I tried to just do like a chill and look at social media, but then I ended up just like making reels myself, and I was like, okay, this is definitely not what I'm supposed to be doing with this time. I ended up being like on the later end of carpool because then I really wanted to finish what I was doing. I was just like, this is not what it's supposed to be. So I'm walking that habit back. I'm not going to make it a daily habit, and I'm instead going to work on building out a routine that's actually what I want to accomplish, which is like a better distinction between the end of a workday and the start of kid time, and just like so that I'm more focused and engaged with the kids when I pick them up. So I'm just gonna really think through that one a little bit more and try and establish some kind of practice over February, rather than just setting that as a habit, if that makes sense. The other big lesson learned or thing that I'm taking away is that sometimes I use a project in a specific area to avoid doing something in another area. And specifically this month, I had to get my office closet set up as the goal. Well, I ended up doing a complete office reorganization and makeover, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. I'm really glad that I did it. It definitely would have been a project at some point this year. And so I'm really glad that it's done on one hand. But on the other hand, I think I used that as a way to avoid some tasks related to work that were not time sensitive that I hoped to get done but didn't really want to do. So if that makes sense. So I work for myself, I work freelance, so it's not like I have a boss for those things like counting on me to do them. But I had some sort of work setup stuff that I had hoped to focus on last month, or to work on last month, or at least get started on. But instead, I spent a lot of that free time energy that should have been devoted to that working on my office. So I'm really happy with how my office set up. You will see in an upcoming video an office tour because I am so proud of what I did with it. But at the same time, I just think it's important to acknowledge that in addition to being a great thing that I did, it was maybe also a way to avoid doing something that I didn't want to do. So I definitely am a very project-oriented person, and I like being able to check that box off to say that something is done, and something as concrete as like a reorg of a particular room in the house is like a very easy task for me to set my mind to work on repeatedly and then accomplish, versus something that's like a little bit more fluid or a little bit more, do I really want to do this? How do I want to do this? Like big picture thought, which is the work kind of thing that I'm thinking of. So next month I will definitely be focusing in on work and trying to establish some more concrete goals about what I wanted to do there that I kind of put off thinking about in January by working on office stuff. But overall, like I said, I had a really great month. It was a really great way to start the year. And in terms of goals that I specifically wrote in my goal planning pages, which you can see in my January goals video, there was only one thing that I wasn't able to finish that was like completely within my control. I would say there's like a couple of pending items on some like kid activity stuff and also some work stuff where I'm just waiting on things from other people, so I'm not able to count those as like 100% done, but I did as much of them as humanly possible and I feel really good about them. But there was one thing that I just had to push completely, and that was decorative planner setups. I feel okay about having that to be pushed. Honestly, it's like creative time, and I do spend a lot of time doing like like planner stuff and crafting stuff because it is my number one hobby and I absolutely love it. But that being said, if something needs to get pushed because other areas get busy, I do think that that is the low-hanging fruit of things that are going to be pushed. So I will be working on those in February and I will get them all done. As of right now, I have 1 out of 3 of my planners set up, so I will be working on the other 2, but I did end up pushing those. But other than that, I did really well. You can see a lot of check marks on my goal setting, and overall, I'm just feeling really great about the start of the year. So anyway, that is everything for my goals review. Let me know in the comments below if you liked seeing my face. Hopefully you did. And also if you liked getting a goals review at the beginning of this February video, because if you do like it, I will definitely keep that going for the months ahead. But if you think it should be split into 2 videos or whatever, definitely let me know in the comments down below. But now I'm gonna flip it back over to the tabletop view so you can see how I set up my February MakseLife and my February Agendio calendars. So we will jump back into my MakseLife in just a few minutes, but before I get my February goals actually set up, I do want to set up my monthly calendar spread in my Agendio, which is my main functional planner for the month ahead. I find it's easier to do my goals if I've already written out all of the appointments and things I know in advance in here. And then I'm also going to put together my list of current work projects, which I already do know a few things that I have coming up for work this month. So I do want to just put that in here before I work on my goals, because I like to shape my goals around my life, not the other way. Well, I guess it's a combination of the 2 things. The goals help me stay focused on what I want long term, but this helps me still keep in mind what I have to get done on a day-to-day basis. So I do want to put all of that in. I actually have a lot of appointments coming up this month, so I want to make sure I have a good idea of what's going on this month before I actually sit down and plan my goals. So I do have my color coding picked out for the month. I'm going to be using all pinks and purples in honor of Valentine's Day, which is a very fun planner holiday. And I also have some Simply Gilded washies picked out to decorate this a little bit. So I am going to just go ahead and throw it over to the voiceover and jump in. So I'm going to start by running some of this gorgeous new Simply Gilded washi up at the top. This is from the latest Valentine's release. I actually have not even hauled this yet, but I just absolutely had to use it. Honestly, in real life, I'm like super not a Valentine's Day person, but in the planner world, just give me all of the pink, the bows, the hearts, the purple, all of it. It's just kind of my favorite aesthetic in terms of like planner season, and I just absolutely love it, and I go all out for it every single year. It's just, I'm definitely a little bit of a girly girl. So anyway, I am making a little washi banner over on the side. What I've actually done the past 2 months, so now in February and also in January, is I've covered up where it says the month at the top and then written it really big in the sidebar. I don't really need the sidebar in here. I don't put any of like the to-do listing stuff alongside the calendar. The only thing that I need in here is the key, which tells me which colors to color code everything with. And what I've been doing is actually putting that in one of the blank days that's like not in the month. And I really like that because then I can use this space to just kind of write out the name of the month, which you can see I'm doing. And I just grabbed one of the mild liner brush pens that I have. And then I went over it twice because unlike with the Tombos, I feel like there's a really different look to the mild liner when you highlight once versus twice, and same with the brush pens because it's the exact same ink as in the mild liner highlighters. I actually love these brush pens. They have like a super nice tip and they're really easy to use. So unfortunately, I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought that Monday and Tuesday were not in the month. I don't know why I didn't see the 1 in the corner. So I started putting this in like this. And then after I wrote in key here, which I did not like the way I wrote it in, which I'm about to do in a second, that's when I noticed that like Tuesday is actually a day in the month and that I probably don't want the key for my color coding there. And then I was like, oh yeah. So I'm then going to white it out and then move everything over. It all fits in Monday. I used to have 7 categories and I did in January, but I decided to condense it down to 6. Last month, I didn't mark anything in the house category, and I haven't for a while. When I initially started doing this, we were like doing a lot of construction stuff in our house because we did a remodel, so it made sense to have that as a separate category. But now I think I can just
filter that into either other or appointment, just depending on like what is going on in the house. And I don't know that I really need a separate category for it. So then I'm putting in just some work deadlines that I know that I always have because I have like a regular Monday thing that I do for work, and then putting in some of the other things that I've already scheduled out for the month. I have a couple of doctor's appointments this month. The kids have a dentist appointment, and we have some plans that are already going on. So I'm putting all of that in. And as well, the dark purple color is my video schedule for the month. So I do pre-plan out what I'm going to try and do for the month ahead. I don't pick the specific videos until it's a little bit closer, but I'm going to be trying to do 3 videos every week this month on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And then I'm just adding in my work projects to the work session of the dashboard. These are things that I already know. These are like specific work projects. They're not really my goals. This is like the actual work that I have to do to get paid. So I wanted to make sure I got those in so that I could just be aware of all the work stuff I had going on this month when I did my goals.
Okay, so that is my pre-planning for the month all done out. I've got my little schedule going over here. So I'm going to push this over to the side. I will revisit that shortly, but I do have out 2 of my companion notebooks. This is the one that I started with. It says just begin. It's the same one that I did my January goals and my weekly actions every week. If you ever want to see how I set this up, I do show it when I do functional plan with me's, but I have been posting a lot of stuff in here in super speed plan with me's as Instagram Reels, which is one of my new favorite things to watch and also make. So definitely check that out. But so I am going to jump into my February goals. So I'm not setting up the calendars as I explained last month, I think, when I did this. I'm going to be using this to serve the function of one of my main annual goals, which is like creating this master calendar. I have a digital version going as well, and I will do a separate video on that when I am ready to, but I am gonna work on my monthly goals for the month of February. So here is my actual, that's where this spread is going to be for the month, but I also have out my annual goals book over here so that I can work from this in order to create my monthly goals for February. Okay, so I have a lot of takeaways from last month. Even though I was happy with my goals and how they went, I was not happy with how I put them in. So the first thing I want to do is I want to think about the habits for this month. So that is actually what I'm going to put in first. And I really like how I've been doing them in the weekly setup with a slight caveat for stuff that is weekly, which I'm going to put a place to do a check mark each week that I accomplish it in my monthly goal section. So in terms of habits this month, I am going to be continuing 2 of my health related habits that both went pretty well for last month. The first is my daily teeth cleaning routine. If you don't watch like any of my memory plan with me's or anything like that, I have a lot of problems like with my teeth, and I need to take really, really good care of them so that I don't exacerbate the issues. So that is one of my main focuses there. So I am going to do that again. And for the daily habits, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to put a dot, and then I'm going to put a D for daily, and then I'm going to just write it in. So that's a nice, easy way to start. And then the other health habit that I will be checking over, which is only going to be a monthly one. So the way that I think I'm going to write this in is I'm going to put an M here to indicate that it's a monthly habit, but I'm going to put a check mark that I can check off for it. I just really like checking things off. I'd imagine if you're watching a planner video, you might also really like checking things off. And I did not like not having something to check off. Now, I'm not gonna check off something in my monthly spread every single day because I do have habit trackers in my weekly spreads, but I am gonna put it like this. So I'm gonna do it like this instead. That way I can still check it off when I do that. And that is going to be my cycle tracking. So that is it for the health routines. I will come back to that category when I'm done with the habit tracker portion of this goal setting session. And that I started with that because it's kind of the easiest place to start. I knew I was going to be carrying those both over from January. In terms of the other routines I had going on, another daily routine that I had, which is in the family and relationships category. And again, I will be carrying this over, but it would help if I had the correct color marker. And that is going to be screen free time for every day. And when I say screen-free time, this is specifically around spending quality family time together, like with the kids, with my husband, all together as a family, and not just like when we're directly at the dinner table. So like a little bit of extra, because we do always eat dinner together with no screens, except for on Thursdays when my husband and I have dinner together in front of the TV and we have a takeout night together. But I love that. I'm definitely not giving that up. But yeah, so anyway, that is what I mean when I say screen-free time. And on the weekends, that's pretty much a no-brainer, but during the week, the kids don't get home from school until around 4:30, and I have to make dinner, and we eat around 6. It's just not a lot of time together, so I do try and enjoy the time that we have. Okay, anyway, I will again be continuing that. In terms of other daily habits that I will be bringing over, I just have one other daily habit, and that was my 20-minute chill out, which is back in the personal section, and that was under routines. And that was just an absolute disaster last month. So yeah, and I spoke about that when I talked about how my goals went. But so anyway, I don't want to give it up completely, but I don't think I really thought it through. So I don't think I'm gonna make it a full-on habit right now. I am gonna make thinking about it and like trying to better plan that plan that as one of my tasks for the month. So by the end of the month, hopefully I will be implementing some kind of afternoon routine. But in the meantime, I have a really easy, low-hanging fruit one that I can take care of, and that is just waking up with an alarm, which is not something I've done in like years, but just because the kids are getting up like a little bit earlier than they used to, and I'm not feeling like I have myself together in the morning, I am going to try and wake up with an alarm, and I'm gonna say 4 days a week for this month. I don't want to do it on the weekends, and that the weekends are not like super an issue, but I'm gonna try 4 days a week to wake up with an alarm, hopefully before the kids are up, and having like a few minutes to myself before they're up. I'm saying hopefully because I just think that I don't control how late kids sleep, and we have one kid in particular who is not a great sleeper, so that is a roll of the dice and not something I can control. But I'm gonna play around with a couple different times, I think, over the month, but that is gonna be what I'm gonna put for my routine here. Okay, so I think that is the last of the daily habits that I need to work on for right now. Another habit that I have that was weekly that is working really well is a weekly toy sort. So I'm gonna maintain that. It ends up being like more thoughtful cleaning. It's not exactly a daily habit. I don't clean up all of the toys every day, and nor do I have any desire to do that. But it's just like making sure that when we're putting toys away, we're putting them back away in their correct bins. We did a massive toy sort, donate, and clean up at the end of last year, and I'm just trying to maintain some of those toy boundaries. And we do actively get the kids involved in this process. We expect them to help clean up, and they are really good with that, and I think that that's like a really positive value to be teaching them. So I definitely want to continue that, but it's just like being a little bit more thoughtful while we're cleaning up the toys. And I think that, and like once a week, I just go and kind of give everything like a little bit of a once over and make sure everything is away in like its correct bin and room. And it just makes the house feel so much more put together. So I actually usually do that on Wednesdays because we have a cleaning service on Thursdays. So I'm gonna keep that up for this month, and I am gonna give myself 4 check marks for the 4 weeks of the month. I just checked to see how many Wednesdays there are in the month, but there are 4. So that is gonna be for that habit. Okay. So then in terms of other tracking that I have this month every month in financial, I do a big month-end financial recap, and I usually do that the first week of the month. So again, that was a really juicy, oh my gosh, that was so juicy. Sorry, I'm going to do that the same way that I marked the cycle tracking up in health, and I am going to put month-end finances. Now, we are not full-on budgeters. We have like a general basic budget, but it's not something like we actively monitor or need to monitor every day. But every month I just check how much we're putting into savings and how much, any major expenditures we had and anything like that, or anything coming up big. So I do have like something that I run through every month, and then I have something that I'm implementing, which the first month that I do this will be in April. Will be like every quarterly review. So the first quarter runs from January through March. So that will be an extra one that comes in April. So don't have to worry about that just yet. Anyway, I think that is the last of the habits that I had for now. Oh, I am wrong. Okay, so the last thing is up back in the personal category, and that is my weekly pre-planning session, which I do on Fridays, not on Sundays, like I know most people do it on Fridays. And I actually am gonna expand on it a little bit this month, because something that I discovered towards the end of the month, which I talked about in my recap, was the time blocking. So I want to incorporate that as an official part of my goals, because it has been so helpful with getting things done. So this is my weekly pre-planning. Okay, and so that is a weekly thing, and again, I do it on Fridays, and there are 4 Fridays in this month, so I will give myself a space to check off each one. So that now, actually, I'm gonna put 1 in here, and I don't know, it's kind of like in between these two. You know what, I think I'm gonna count it as part of personal, because it fits more into the like scheduling motif, but it really straddles these two. So one thing that I did a couple of times over the course of this month was I had like these, I'm calling calendar sessions. I just scheduled myself 30 minutes to sit down and schedule a bunch of things, like call a bunch of any doctor's appointments that I needed to make, any like activities. I called things for the kids. I texted people about play dates and all of that. And I just did it in like one burst. And it was super helpful, because I am a person who avoids being on the phone. I really don't like being on the phone. So I'm going to put that as a weekly habit again. I don't think I need to do multiple ones per week now that I have the base framework set up. And also I have literally scheduled every single doctor's appointment that I need for the year, that my husband needs for the year, and everything that I can be scheduled has been scheduled already at this point, because I did that in January. So I won't have as much stuff that I need to like physically call. There's still a little bit of kids stuff left that I'll have to take care of, but I am going to put this as a weekly habit. I guess I needed to put the W here. Okay. So then this again will be weekly, and I'm going to say 1 calendar session per week. So I just want to acknowledge that this is like heavily interrelated between the two things. So I might actually even just give myself a place to check it off down here. They just go together, and I want to scheduling fun. That is one of my main focuses for the year. So anyway, I've actually already taken care of some of this, because again, one of the things I did discover last month is that a lot of things need to be scheduled out more than a week in advance. So anyway, that is good for that. And now I am actually done with my routine. So the last thing that I want to put in here is, again, and this one is not a habit, but basically acknowledging that the habit that I tried to work in last month really just wasn't working for me. And I just want to, so I just want to spend some time thinking that through and working on it. And it actually does really feed into the area which I'm struggling the most with, which is the spiritual and personal growth. And that is around building like an afternoon routine that it at least happens Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because those are the days that all 3 of my kids are in school. And it's just like around building up a routine that I can do at the end of the day to sort of separate my work and life admin time from my kid time and make me more engaged with my kids when I pick them up from school. So And basically in the goals here, so I wrote work to create a functional afternoon routine to end the work day and begin family time. So I'm not always just working on work, but basically a separation of that time in the house empty versus time in the house with everyone. And that is really what I want out of the routine, is just some way to like break up the space in between them so that things aren't carrying over. And I also just want to feel more ready to like be happy and engaged with the kids at the end of a workday. So that's really what I want out of that time, and I need to think through what I want. So that is my other main goal for personal, and I'm out of space in that category, and I am not going to put anything else in there, even though the last thing that I do kind of want to do is work on planner setups, but I did have that as a goal as January, and I didn't finish it. That is like a creative project, so I'm not going to put that in because I have a lot going on in this category. So let me just think about that for a minute, because I was also maybe thinking about, actually, you know what, it's related to, I'm not gonna put the planner setups in here. I will still be working on that, but the other thing that I wanted to do related that I was gonna put in there, but I think will fit in this category just as well and maybe help in this category, is to just like get some kind of journaling practice in my art journal established. And even though that was more of an annual goal wise in my personal category, it does kind of straddle between the two. So I am gonna just put that in here because I have less to write in here. So that is, again, okay, so that is good. So while I'm over in my spiritual and personal growth category, and here my main focus for the year is letting go, basically like letting go of stress and letting go of like just frustrations as they happen. And last month I spent a lot of time saying I was gonna look up de-stressing methods and no time actually looking up any of methods, and I did it once and just really didn't like what I found and then just gave up. So I think it's maybe I just need to I think the journaling will be really helpful with that, because I do find that very distressing. But in terms of other than that, I do want to just put out one other thing here. So I actually did just put two things, one around boundaries and another around de-stressors that I think will cause me less stress than trying to research how to de-stress, if that makes sense. So that is it for that category as well. I'm gonna go back to health and wellness, and I'm just gonna look at this category, and honestly, I don't know that I need to do anything else in this category for right now. I do have the yoga down here, and that definitely feeds into my health and wellness category as well. A lot of things kind of straddle between categories, and I don't feel the need to write them in multiple times. Okay, so I'm not gonna put anything else there. It's fine to just have a little bit in one category. And actually, I don't think I'm gonna put anything else under physical environment. I don't have any decluttering projects that need to be done right now. And I use this area as a major avoidance tactics for tackling other areas last month. So maybe it's good to have a month that I don't focus on the physical environment. For me, it's a really easy way to feel accomplished on something, and I tend to tackle home projects based on that. So I think I'm just gonna leave that one too. Okay, for fun, I am avoiding the work category. I'll do that last because I know it's gonna be a focus for this month. So for fun, we have a couple of things going on. I have 2 birthday parties to plan and really start on one. So I'm just going to put that that's obviously, this is gonna be the main focus for this month, is birthday party planning. Okay, so I have that, and is there anything else I need to work on? Maybe I'll just put a little bit of vacation research. We've been looking into this casually, but we're pretty sure it's going to be the week of the kids' spring break in school, so it's probably a good time to just look into that a little bit more closely. And then that is it for that category. So let me do family really quick. I totally forgot that I have some like kind of monthly stuff that I end up doing, that it's because it's like trying to schedule something that is an out of the house date every month and time, like a session away from the kids, like a time away from the kids, an activity for myself every month, and a like some kind of one-on-one time with each of the kids every month. So I'm just gonna put that in as well, and that went really well last month. So I'm gonna just try and make plans with a friend this month. I did not do that last month, and I mean I didn't have it as a goal or anything, but I think that'll be a good, nice thing to do. February is a short month, so I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, but that will be something good. Even if it doesn't happen in this month, at least I'll make a plan to see someone. Okay, so then next, finally, work and learning, which is about work, which I got all of the things for work that I specifically needed to get done, because, you know, I'm a deadline driven person, so I did do that, and I do that, but I also like spent a lot of time avoiding some bigger picture stuff, so I'm gonna just put a couple of things in here. You know what, I want to break this one down a little. That way I can check off things as I do them, and I'm specifically saying I want to do them. Okay, so then I will okay, so my camera did just cut out right at the end while I was talking, but I had already written everything down for the month. So these are my monthly goals for the month. I obviously realize that it's much more heavily weighted towards this side of the page than this side of the page, and particularly these three categories, but I think that that's totally fine and totally normal. First of all, my annual goals are like slightly lopsided to favor certain categories over others because, you know, I'm trying to build up certain categories of my life that were more lower scoring than others. But also I just think that this is what needs to happen and what's going to work for me in the month of February. So I'm totally fine with having like very little in certain categories and a lot more in certain other categories. So I think that that is like a normal and good practice. And even though it may look a little bit funny on the page, I think that that is actually very functional and, you know, totally healthy part of goal planning. So the last thing that I am going to do for this video is sort of translate this list over back into my dashboard spread of my functional planner. This just helps me stay focused and organized if I need to reference it during the week or during the day. And I just really loved what I did last month, what I went back and did after a few days after I had done my goals planning last month. So I want to do that again, and I will be sticking, for my dashboard anyways, I will be sticking to the color coding in my MakseLife planner rather than the color palette I've chosen for this month. So I'm just pushing my MakseLife off to the side, and I am just going to wrap up by basically translating my MakseLife goals into a monthly to-do list.
This translation works is basically I use the same color coding for my MakseLife, and anything that is like a specific and concrete task, I move over to the to-do list. Things that are more like work on this or like a little bit more fluid, I do not move over to the to-do list. And then the habits actually go into the section that says notes, and I write those in a little bit differently. And then I can use my dashboard to help me set up for every week. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I keep my functional planner out on my desk open, or I bring it down to the kitchen with me a lot, and that is always open, and I look at that every day, multiple times per day. The MakseLife, I've really just been looking at, I would say like twice per week. I do it when I set my weekly tasks for the week, and then I do a midweek goals check-in where I review like how things are going and make sure I didn't miss anything, and I mostly do that on Wednesdays. So this planner is a lot more front and center, so this helps me kind of like go between the two planners. And then I was just counting out how many videos were for the week, and I wanted to try something a little bit more different for my video tracker so that I would know like how many videos I need for the month, and then I can use the space at the bottom to just like have more ideas that are carrying over for March. And then I did forget to make a cover page, so I just did a really quick one at the end here once I had got it back into its cover.
Last little flip through of my planners. So we have a February little cover page, my monthly calendar spread. So functional. I absolutely love this. I have been doing this kind of spread for like more than a year now at this point, and I just find it so functional. And then my line a day memory keeper, where I just write down one thing that I want to use in my more decorative memory spread every single day, and it's just a little extra section for memory keeping down there. Just a fun little thing that I do every day. And then I have my dashboard all set up, and I'm really loving this, and I think it's going to be super functional. And then yeah, we are all done with that planner. And I do also have my February goals all set up in my MakseLife. Again, I show both of these planners all the time on Instagram, so definitely follow me at My Crafty Plans if you want to see more. And I am gonna throw it back to the front screen. Okay, that is everything for this video. I hope you like seeing my goals review and also my setup for my February goals. Again, I'm just feeling really enthusiastic about planning and about goal setting right now, so I love sharing that energy with you. Let me know in the comments down below something you're looking forward to in February, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and check me out on Instagram at My Crafty Plans to keep up with everything going on in all of my planners. I will talk to you all soon. Bye!